Hi, I'm Ike Ellis and welcome to Tips from the SQL Consultant. In today's tip, we're going to do something a little unusual. I'm not going to show you code or show you SSMS or Visual Studio. Instead, I'm going to talk to you about an overlooked role of the DBA. I see DBAs all the time focus on backup and recovery and IOPS and disks and performance tuning and rewriting stored procedures, but often we overlook one of our jobs, which is, I believe, to have a schema that is capable of change. Changing schema is a scary proposition for most DBAs, and the reason for that is because we don't know what will be affected by that. Like, look at this schema right now. How many of you would feel comfortable if I deleted this author string column, or if I wanted to rename one of these tables, or if I wanted to change a data type, or if I wanted to just change the name of a column, or I wanted to add a table, or change a stored procedure name, or anything like that? If that makes you uncomfortable, it's for good reason. It's because of tight coupling. When we have a schema, we will immediately begin to write transact SQL statements for that schema. And when we write T-SQL statements, what we're doing is we're coupling the statement to the table. And those statements can be everywhere. They could be in reporting, they could be in ETL, they could be in Excel spreadsheets, they could be in stored procedures, they could be in applications. And so the thought of like changing a table and then changing all the other dominoes that will fall down once that table changes, all the things that'll break, is daunting. And that means that changing schema could take days or weeks, when in reality it should take minutes or hours. And why do we want to change schema? We want to change it because changing schema improves performance. If I have to get a simple customer list and I have to join 12 tables, that tells me that the database is over normalized. And those joins are a performance issue. Or maybe it's under normalized. If I have to update a column and I have to update 10 other aggregate columns that go along with that column, that tells me that the database is under normalized, and that can also be a performance problem. So just straight performance might be a reason to change schema, but it could also be that my report authors are overwhelmed when they look at the data. It could be that I've got a lot of dead data. There's a popular kind of use case where people say, hey, we've got a new project. Hey, everyone's going to love this project. We create 15 columns. We create 2 tables. We put the project in production, and at the end of the day, nobody uses it. But because no one's using it, we know no one's using it, but because of tight coupling and we're afraid of what we're going to break in the application, nobody wants to delete the columns that aren't being used. Nobody wants to delete the 2 tables that aren't being used. And so what happens is over time, we get 300 tables, but really only 30 or 50 are being used, but nobody wants to delete the other dead tables, and that's a bad sign. And then finally, what's happening is that the business is changing. And when the business changes, today in 2014, business changes all the time. And our schema reflects our business processes, and when our business processes change, our schema should be able to change with it. So I believe that a DBA's job is to have a schema that's not in change lock, that will change with the business. And that means that we should always be thinking about how to make our schema changeable and more flexible. So I'm going to have a whole bunch of tips coming up about how we can change schema and how we can quickly figure out what reports are coupled to the schema, what code is coupled to the schema, what ETL processes are coupled with the schema, and then finally how we can audit and log our SQL statements so that we know where we need to change things when we rename a column or drop a table, so that our schema stays fresh and vibrant and reflects the actual business. Thanks a lot, and stay tuned for more tips along those lines.